Sorry about that, I just had to deal with some work things there. Ahem. A good example of what I'm talking about with the geographical thing. In Final Fantasy VII, you never, with a few exceptions, you never really question where you're going next, because where have you not been, or what direction were you going in, and you just keep going in that direction. Even if for whatever reason you never read a shred of dialogue, you could keep going based on that. In Breath of Fire 2, that's not quite true. You know, a great example, my best example of that is you just finished this town, and you killed out all the things, and you maybe you didn't save all the villagers, and then you go all the way back here to Township, and then all the way back to the town in order to proceed a long, brutal journey made on foot, also requiring you to have the damn monkey in your party just so you could cross the terrain, and heaven forbid you didn't have that monkey with you if you got that point. That's happened to me. All of this I'm talking about is admittedly just small points. It really can't bring a game down to fire. No, I really want to get to the big point. The reason Breath of Fire 2 isn't a great game is because of the difficulty and the grind, which combined make for the third most nightmarish gaming experience in an RPG I've ever been through. Let me lay this out for you. Breath of Fire 2 is hard. It's one of only a couple RPGs where I can safely say each random encounter, each absolutely normal fight you fight out on the overworld or in a dungeon feels like a boss battle, where you're literally in danger of dying every time you leave the town. This isn't true for the very first starter area, but it hits hard as soon as you start the game proper. As soon as you go to that second town, hey, by the way, here's a bunch of flies that can kill you in 2 hits. Have fun! All of this is and I want to stress, this is a proper old SNES RPG. It feels like a NES RPG, though, to be honest with you, because there are no instant healing save points, no springs of cure-all lying over the place. Inns are expensive, if they let you sleep there at all. Some towns won't. Some towns don't have inns. Sometimes there's not an inn for 1 billion miles in all directions. I'm exaggerating a little bit. You get the idea. Enjoy the walk, by the way, all the way to the other town over there, now that you managed to drag your half-dead party to this town, hoping it had an inn, but it doesn't. Screw you. And the couch you rode in on. Oh my god. And on top of this, this adds to the grind level. You really have to grind your nose off in Breath of Fire 2 in order to be high enough level to adequately deal with the monsters you regularly encounter. And when each fight is one you barely survive or get lucky in and haven't managed to get through, it tends to make that grind extremely irritating. And on top of that, all it does is offset the overall problem. Even a level 99 character roaming around who isn't being handled properly with the right setup, with the right gear, in the right formation, with the right characters, with the right mix of magic and attacks for this specific enemy, you get the idea. And now, I'm not one to shy away from difficulty. I'm not. I beat God of War 1 on Titan I'm sorry. Was it Titan difficulty? Maybe it was 2 I beat on Titan difficulty. Well, whatever. 1 and 2 I both beat on the highest difficulties. Also beat Devil May Cry on the 3 on the highest difficulty. It's not like I have a problem with difficulty. What I have a problem with is enforced difficulty. What I have a problem with is a game that has a wonderful story that I want to enjoy, that I don't want to kill myself to enjoy. And there is also a difference between difficulty and grind. There's having to go grind just to have a chance to be... if they had scaled it back so you didn't have to grind, I would be a lot kinder on this game. The difficulty could still be there if they scaled it down to the point where you didn't have to grind your face off in order to be able to compete at all. Then I could at least go with it. I still would be pissed off, because I still think difficulty should be optional. I have always thought difficulty should be something that is optional. That I should have a setting or an availability to say, I want to be challenged, or I want to just enjoy the game. That should be an option, and I think that should be true in every game, to be completely frank with you. If I want to play Mass Effect, let's give you a great example. When I'm playing Mass Effect, I usually go ahead and put it on a harder difficulty, because I enjoy the challenge. But when I'm going to be doing my replaythrough, setting up my save game for my import to Mass Effect 3 later this year, I'm going to be playing it on the easiest difficulty, because I don't want the challenge. I've done that. I've done the challenge, I enjoyed it, I want to enjoy the story and set it up properly now, you know? Options. Oh my goodness. By the way, I'm not even talking about the actual boss fights in Breath of Fire 2, which are horrifying, which are terrifyingly difficult. Oh my god, I really hope that Beru Berry fight right at the beginning you were supposed to lose to didn't spoil you, because that's the only supposed to lose fight in the course of the game, and a lot of them feel like that, if you know what I mean. That sense of, this is an unsurmountable boss, surely I'm supposed to lose, and you just put the controller down, and then you see the game over screen, and it's like, oh, whoops. Now, I have to add... I have to add, on top of this, that this is related to the difficulty. Breath of Fire 2 has the dubious position of having the single most difficult last dungeon I've ever seen, ever. In any game. Ever. It's the Infinity Dungeon, and it is aptly named. It just goes on and on and on. And remember that every fight is a boss thing? You are expected to be level 99 by this point. You are expected to be maxed out, because this is the last dungeon. This place feels like the super optional dungeon from hell. There are super optional dungeons in RPGs that don't come close to the Infinity Dungeon. And the music as you're going through there is just it's just grinding on your senses, and it's a maze, and it's disgusting. You go through the whole organic area, and it's just everything about that place makes me want to rip my eyes out. And then you get to the last boss, and oh my god, it's oh, and Breath of Fire 2 does have fishing in it, of course. Bottom line, I would rate Breath of Fire 2 as a game that is worth playing. Definitely, and without question, I might add. But only once. Put it up with it for the story. It is a top-notch story that I just spoiled for you horribly. But I won't hold it against you if you just take the game and hurl it into the nearest object as hard as you can after your 10th death to a random Venus fly that you encountered after you left the second town. I keep getting interrupted tonight, don't I? Bottom line, if I were to rate Breath of Fire 2 as a game that what it's worth playing, it is a good game. It does have good story. It is frustrating as hell. There's nothing else for it. Unfortunately, this is going to affect its score rather negatively, so bottom line, I would rate Breath of Fire 2 at $35. Good game. Play it once. Play it with cheats.